Hello, I'm Doris Viljoen, Senior Futurist at the Institute for Futurist Research. And today I invited you to think with me about SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. And it's a good time to think about it because on the 11th of July is World Population Day, and those two are very closely tied together. So a few numbers to start off with. At the moment, already, as we speak, more than half of the global population live in big cities. And that number is projected to increase to more than 2/3 in the next 30 years. I mean, that's really soon. And then of that expansion, 90% of it is going to happen in the developing world where we live, where Sub-Saharan Africa has the highest rate of projected growth in cities. We already have more than 880 million people that are supposedly counted and live in slums. We cannot allow our cities to just keep on increasing at such a rapid rate without being able to provide, on the one hand, services and infrastructure, but on the other hand, also food, energy, services, and economic opportunity. But you may say that cities are not all bad, because if people live closer together, there could be more efficiencies, shorter distances to travel, etc., which is all true. But such a lot of people together put a huge pressure on being able to provide them with the kind of resources that they need in order to sustain themselves. We talk about this food, energy, water nexus, where if a lot of people put a lot of pressure on a system to provide them, it sort of within the system creates a lot of complexity and a lot of unintended consequences. For instance, in a city that just grows without having enough infrastructure, there is a lot of waste because the systems are just not efficient enough to get fresh food to the people while the food is still fresh. So a lot of waste happens on the one hand. On the other hand, that waste gets consumed and then people get sick. Infrastructure cannot cope with water requirements, and especially effluent going untreated into water resources, then damage the water resource then cannot be used as a fresh source for the people. Can you see the complexity and the spin-off of that? In all of this sort of gloomy darkness, there must be at least a few sparks of hope, and there is. People are really moving towards more responsible consumption. We see more people saying, wait, let us just think a little bit about how many resources each of us now actually need. So they're really curbing on their consumption, which is a very nice thing. People are actively thinking about producing less waste, designing waste or the potential for waste out of the process already. We see exciting moves in the domain of urban farming, where more and more people are producing fresh food on small scale, sharing it with each other, doing barter agreements, or actually selling it into the value chain. And then we see de-urbanization, where people move decidedly so to smaller communities, smaller cities, smaller towns, where they then work from the smaller space and not work in the big city. A call to action. I would want planners to really think because in Sub-Saharan Africa, with all the numbers that we see there, we will have to think about our cities and how we plan. And one trap to fall into is to plan for where the pain is at the moment. From the Institute for Futurist Research, of course, always we want people to think about the longer future. So we would urge planners to really think about where the pain could be going forward, and not just where the congestion is at the moment or the pain is at the moment, and try to solve for that, because then we will forever be playing catch up. Rather practice foresight, think 20, 30 years into the future and design for that city. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Future of the Sustainable Development Goals. Please click on the logo below to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more great content. Don't miss the next episode.